Today's video is sponsored by R6 Tracker, which is the best in-game analyst for Rainbow Six Siege. You get a full roster of stats by season or lifetime, and every other ranked match, you can actually tell what everybody's KDs, headshot percentage, or even the percentage of you winning the game, or the rank, which is probably one of my favorites, because when it comes to determine if someone's cheating or not, usually stats don't lie. Besides that, you can actually see the performance that you've had in the last 25 games, or when it comes down to your lifetime or seasonal operator percentages. So it's really cool. For example, I have one of the highest KDs on an operator like Maverick, because Maverick is my favorite operator on attack. Comment down below what your best operator is in terms of KD. Besides that, I can also see my lifetime ranked percentages. For example, on screen, you can see that this season I have 97 wins. I am struggling, my dude, in Champion Elo. If you guys want to take advantage of this great application, go down in the description. It's going to be the top link or the pinned comment. Be sure to just download it, and it's that easy. This is free. It's a great application, and just why not try it out? Every time I stream, I get questions in my chat from people just asking how can they get better at Siege. We've all seen it. If you've been in a Twitch stream, you literally get just random people being like, hey man, I'm gold 5 with like a 1.9 KD and my teammates suck, blah blah blah. So in today's video, I'll be going over every single rank and giving them 3 tips so they can instantly rank up to the next rank. Now, if you apply every single one of these tips from copper to diamond, you should easily, in the long run, in maybe 3 months, probably get champion. Now, how I want to format this is I'm going to give you guys 2 tips, and then for the 3rd tip, I'm going to give you a exact video that I would watch from a content creator in Siege, whether it's me, Atheno, or tons and tons of different content creators that touch on a topic that's very helpful for you guys. The reason why I'm doing this is because that makes it easier so I can explain, and you can go watch the more in-depth video, for example, on that said topic that maybe you have never would have watched. Now, we're starting from the basics with copper. My first tip is playing/understanding which ops to go and which ops to bring. Now, on attack, I would really suggest bringing the most basic ops so you can fundamentally understand more of the complex ops in the long run. Because if you're brand new to Siege, and I'm assuming that's why you're in copper or you just don't play the game enough, there's a lot of filler ops, which means there's a lot of operators that aren't essential all the time. You can make operators work in certain scenarios, and this is something you need to understand, but the most basic ops is something you're going to be needing to bring 99% of the time. First, I would suggest Sledge. Now, the reason why I would suggest Sledge is he brings vertical play, and vertical play is very important in Siege to opening up lines of sight. Now, as you learn the maps, you're going to start to realize that a lot of the things in Siege is vertical played. And once you realize how to play Sledge, then you'll understand how to play Buck. So you're always going to need a soft breach 99% of the time, in my opinion. I would suggest maybe Ashe, but a lot of the times when it comes down to Ashe, if you have Zofia, bring Zofia. Because Zofia is just a better version of Ashe, and she has more utility overall. Notice how I'm emphasizing utility and what ops and why you should bring the op over one another, because they have more utility. Next is Thermite. These are 3 essential ops that I would personally bring on attack. The reason why Thermite is very essential is because he opens up hard walls, and this is, once again, one of the most essential parts of Siege. It's also one of the most basic parts of Siege. Thermite opens up a lot of lines of sight, and once you learn how to play Thermite, you'll more than likely understand how to play an operator like Ace. But once again, in my personal opinion, 90% of maps, Thermite is better than Ace. Habana is a little bit more complicated, so just start out with Thermite. On the flip side, on defense, what I would suggest bringing is Jaeger, because Jaeger is very easy to understand. He has ADS devices which deny any type of utility that come in, like grenades, stuns, basically most utility that attackers will have, besides some utility like Capital bullets or, Capital, smokes. Bring Jaeger. What you're going to want to do with Jaeger is place the ADSs around the most important parts of the map. For example, where you think they might go for, like the attackers might go for a hard wall, and what they might try to open, so they might try to burn utility. What burning means is they're burning your ADSs, so the ADSs are no longer activated, and they can actually get the stuff off, like the bandit wires, electric claws, whatever, off the wall, so they can now open that breach. Basically, your main focus is denying operators utility that's on attack. So just think about places that's most important and most prominent on the map. Next is, I'm assuming you're not going to have Cade, so I'm going to say Bandit or mute. Now, I would suggest mute overall because he can bring rotation capability. You have to learn how to use this shotgun and get good with the SMG-11. If you become really good with the SMG-11 and you master this gun, you're going to be a very strong player overall. Next, I would also bring smoke. Smoke emphasizes a lot of utility usage. Now, of course, smoke, his job is kind of like mute in some way, but smoke's life and utility is more important as the round goes on, because an operator like smoke can deny plant and deny so much time, and honestly, you can't have an attacker just walk through a smoke. A lot of times they're going to end up dying, or they're just going to lose 99% of their HP. If you can master playing these three operators, one, smoke, because once again, you're utilizing your life and your utility, and you're not burning your smokes right away. Mute, because the deniability with the mute jammers, and just because the playstyle with the SMG and shotgun. And then Jaeger is emphasizing utility placement. If you can learn these three, I feel like you can learn every other operator in the game. I'm saying that smoke is probably one of the most complex operators on defense, but he's the most rewarding operator on defense overall. Number 2 is very simple, and it's just putting time into the game. A lot of players are going to probably be skipping past this part, but in all honesty, time is your best friend and experience is your best friend when it comes to getting better at Siege. You can watch all the tips and tricks videos in the world, you can watch all the content creators, but you're not going to absorb all this knowledge because experience is going to be your best friend. It's going to be hard remembering everything that a person says into a tips and tricks video. You're not going to watch one tips and tricks video and automatically become better at this game. So just give yourself time and play the goddamn game. Now, for the video that I would suggest you watching if you are in this rank and you're still questioning what operators to go, I would seriously suggest watching a guy named Atheno's tier list. He's a very underrated content creator, and he has a very good tier list because he has actually played in league underneath Pro League. So he was pro, he was in Challenger League, he's been champion, he's done it all. So he knows what he's talking about in terms of utility. And that's basically what this game is constantly about. On attack, you're looking to open up openings into the map and establish map control and burn as much utility so you can open up walls, open up lines of sight, so you can pressure the defenders into going in very uncomfortable angles, and then you can try to either execute the plan or get all 5 kills. Once again, I would suggest always trying to play for the objective, which is either denying the plant, or if you're on the attacking side, getting the plant down. But Atheno can emphasize utility, and he understands it to a T. So go watch that video. My first tip for bronze is understanding objective of the round. Now, on attack, your main objective is to establish map control, act off drone information, and then just take as much map control as possible. Destroy any utility that's going to be in your way when it comes to either opening up lines of sight or just in your way that might be a hassle in general. Your main objective should be clearing as much utility as possible for your teammates, communicating with them, and establishing map control once again. At the end of the round, basically you should be setting up for a plant because that is the end goal in all honesty. If you can get all 5 kills, that's totally cool, but a lot of the times you're going to be forced to try to play for a goddamn plant. If you go into a Siege ranked game with the mentality that you can kill all 5 people, that's honestly silly as hell. I understand if you're in solo queue, it's a little bit easier to think that way, but once you're in a 5-man and you're playing actual good players, you're not going to be able to play like that constantly. This isn't Call of Duty. On the defensive side, your main objective is to waste as much time as possible, deny the attackers map control, deny the attackers getting any structure in their attacking round, and deny them from getting a plant down. That's why operators like smoke was something I suggested for the coppers to learn, because it's such an essential part of the game, just with the smoke canisters, denying time and just wasting time. That's why I also mentioned Jaeger, because Jaeger is one of those operators that is going to be essential no matter what, and as the years go on with Siege. The best thing you can do when you're roaming or if you're playing sites is give as much information to your teammates and play off your teammates as much as possible. What a lot of players tend to do on defense is they either all just stack around site and give the attackers all the map control in the world, and that's why a lot of you players are in bronze, silver, copper, gold, whatever. It's because on defense you have no idea how to play. A lot of you guys just jump out windows and try to go for spawn peaks because you've seen it in a Coconut Bra video. That might work a few times, but you got to ask yourself, is this the reason why you're stuck in this rank? So a good example of this is, let's take Cafe Piano. Now, when you guys are up top and you guys are, for example, holding cigar, a lot of people just go in cigar lounge and just chill and let the attackers establish piano control, cigar shop control, and red and open red. What your main objective should be doing is to contest piano as much as possible so they can't get into CS and they don't have all these opening angles. As you can see on screen, for some reason I'm Warden and I'm killing everybody and making the attackers' lives a pain in the butt. This is what you need to be doing on defense. Now, my second tip is understanding site setup. Now, this is something that's going to be very difficult for a lot of players because there's so many different maps, so many unique callouts. But once again, with experience comes understanding and knowledge. So I have an entire goddamn video on how to defend every single map. Besides the very new map, I forgot what the new map is called. I haven't played it that much. I think it's Emerald Plains. Besides that map, I don't have a defending guide on that so far, but you're not going to play that map that much, and it's sad because everybody bans it. Basically, you just go watch that video in all honesty whenever you're about to play a map, or just look at your favorite maps, and I break down literally everything when it comes to lines of sight, maybe with some suggestions for operators, because on defense you can really mix and match with certain operators and make it work in all honesty. Learning site setup is one of those things that's very crucial to getting better and winning more ranked games in all honesty. Next is silver, and my very first tip is learn how to solo queue. Now, solo queuing is not what this game is meant to be played or how it's meant to be played, but I know for a fact a lot of silver players, they solo queue, and a lot of you guys don't know how to play for individual self and make plays happen. So it wouldn't be a bad idea to emphasize solo queuing once in a while so you can better your gun skill and better your positioning overall. There's a lot of times where you have to be very self-aware in a solo queue atmosphere what all your teammates are doing. And this is something that's really good because once you get into a 5-stack, it's going to be a lot easier to communicate with your teammates. Hey, what are you guys watching? Hey, do you want to play REFRAG? Hey, do you want to, play off my contact type of thing? In solo queue, a lot of people don't communicate. So when you have to literally look around and be like, yo, this is where my teammate's positioned. This would be a really good idea if I position myself like this way and maybe get a refrag, I get a reswing. Or when you're on defense, you can kind of look around and be like, okay, where's my teammates playing and where is there an opening for the attackers to take? A lot of people just run around and shoot, but you got to think more with your brain. And on attack, you have to try to think about where your teammates are going and where you can benefit off cutting off an angle for the defenders. This is very vague in all honesty, but on attack, it really comes down to fragging out and making plays happen, droning out for yourself, learning some really good drone work. And if you do have people that communicate, you can maybe get some communication out of them and try your best to be enthusiastic and being like, hey, do you guys want to push this way, and maybe make some stuff happen that way. And every season I solo queue on stream and I easily get to Diamond 3. I think I'm going to try to get it into maybe Champion if I just play enough games a season. I only usually play like 90 games in a season on my solo queue count, so we'll see what happens. But overall, just analyze your scenarios and analyze your surroundings, because if you learn how to properly position yourself for refrags and openings and seeing openings while you're on defense where the attackers might go, then you'll become a very smart player very quickly and you'll be very effective in a 5-stack. Next is SENS/recoil issues. Now, a lot of you guys honestly really hindering yourself playing on a too fast of a sense. I'm not gonna lie, I haven't seen that many people play on too slow of a sense, but on PC and especially on console, because console is a lot more run and gun TDM type of game mode and ranked, because like a lot of people are M&K. So something I would suggest is lowering your sensitivity and really just analyzing, sitting down in a terrace hunt and staying on one sense and become consistent on it. A lot of you guys cannot control recoil because your sensitivity is way too fast or it's way too goddamn slow, and this could really come down to your ADS sense. So try to go for something that's comfortable for you, not what some pro player uses or not what, for example, Jinxie uses, if that makes sense. Now, the video suggestion I would suggest for these two tips for the, silver players is one, Braction, how to find sense for PC players. And there's a Royal Penguin video listed down below in the description as well for controller players that I'd really suggest watching. Now, if you're really curious about solo queue and your mindset, I would really suggest watching my solo queue playlist. That will also be down in the description as well. Next is gold. Now for number one, I would want to say that you guys should really need to focus on positioning. A lot of players do not understand positioning at all, but positioning becomes very important once you get into gold and higher ranks. And this is where a lot of you guys that were in silver, bronze, copper, whatever, this is where you guys will now struggle, because gold is somewhat now coordinated compared to the last few ranks. It's a little bit more brain dead here and there because people are more aggressive and they're mechanically better than the previous ranks. But overall, what I would suggest is try to analyze your positioning. Match replay has recently come down to console, and it's also on PC. So in terms of positioning, I would go back in some ranked games that you might have won or even lost when it comes down to close rounds, and where you might have just got fried in general, and just ask yourself, how could have you positioned your body a little bit better to favor playing off your teammates? And you either could have played for a refrag or just overall help the team win, and you could have even got more kills if you position yourself on attack or defense a little bit different. Because self-evaluation is probably the best way to get better in the game in general, and positioning will win you more gunfights in general, even if you don't have the best aim, best mechanics, whatever. Positioning, if you position yourself in a proper scenario, you will 9 times out of 10 beat someone that's more mechanically better than you. Next is POV, and just basically understanding POV. Now what POV is its point of view. A lot of times you guys say that you got ghosted, but a lot of times you guys also just don't know how to position your body and play and use point of view for your advantage. Now, I'm not going to just explain it in this video. I did a video learning 10 R6 skills, and in that video I show a side-by-side comparison of me on 2 different accounts in a custom game, and I show how to exactly use, you know, point of view. And you know, I also have a video based on positioning, which is called Positioning 101. Now, if these are 2 things that you don't understand and you guys need to get better on, there's a link down in the description once again to go watch these videos. And these are probably the most important tips of this entire, you know, video, because positioning and point of view go hand in hand and they're both very important. So I would suggest going and watching those 2 videos. Next is platinum, and my first tip is aggression versus passive. Now, a lot of players don't understand this balance of when to play aggressive and when to play passive. Let me break this down very simple for you. If you're on attack and you guys have man advantage, play a little bit more passive and wait until you have more information, just so you know you don't throw man advantage and you guys are in a refraggable position. And by refrag, I mean if one person swings and dies, you have a teammate behind you or beside you cutting off an angle that will instantly trade off that kill. A lot of players, when they get man advantage on attack, they just start running at the defenders like idiots. Take your time and play passive. Get the information so you guys can execute on the site and clear the last few people in sight. Now, some scenarios where I would play aggressive, if you're on defense and you lose man advantage and it's a 3v5 and these attackers are coming in hard, if you guys can make a play to try to get 1 or 2 enemies or some type of a retake situation. For example, if you're on border and you're playing vent and it's a 3v5 and they're making vertical and they're trying to set up for a plant, you can try to relieve that pressure by rotating out of sight, trying to act off some type of information that you may have on drones, or just retake the vertical with your teammate. It's better than staying in sight and getting sandwiched like, you know, a ham sandwich. So I would say aggression is very important when you're desperate, and playing passive is really important when you have man advantage and you need to, you know, get some information so you can actually execute on the site. Number 2 is mental. Now, what I mean by that is a lot of people have really bad mentals after losing a ranked game or playing bad. Something I would say is you guys really need to get a grip when it comes down to this, because a lot of times you are going to get outplayed, you're going to get outsmarted, the enemy team is going to play better, and a lot of people just have losers mentality. If you lose a game and you're that upset about it, don't requeue and try to get your MMR back, because what's going to happen is you're probably just going to lose more MMR. Go take a break, go take a walk, touch some grass, maybe even just take a few days off of Siege if it's making you that upset. But a video game at the end of the day should be a video game to you. It should be a hobby or something that you play on your free time, unless you're a content creator or a pro. That's way different, but still very important. Learn to enjoy the game. If you're not having fun with the game, take a break from the game and stop playing for a little while. This is not the most important thing, and if it's ruining your mental health, that is really not something they're gonna want, because overall you're gonna ruin everybody else's vibe and you're gonna just be pissed off. Who likes playing a video game, especially one of Siege, where you need focus and you need to be accurate with your movements and your inputs and the way that you aim and whatnot? So just take a goddamn break and just try to think a little bit more positive. When it comes down to you getting slammed in a ranked game, if you're getting angry, I would suggest instead of calling the enemy team dog shit and being like, yeah, they're awful, be like, damn, they outplayed me. And then ask yourself how they outplayed you and what could have you have done in the future to overall avoid that. My third tip and a video suggestion I would say is go watch Atheno's mental video and A21 Mayo's video. Both of those will be linked in the description. A lot of these videos that Atheno puts out are really high quality, and especially I watched his mentality when it came to being a content creator to going to CL. So like he's a really good player. So go watch those videos. Next is Diamond, and number 1 is refrag value. Overall, a refrag is if your teammate gets killed, you're there to get the trade-off, and just you're in position to be ready to get that trade-off. Whether it's on attack or defense, whether it's holding cross angles on defense, once again, it just comes down to playing in a position where you can get the instant trade-off. So your teammate, if he does die, you know, at least you get a 1-for-1 trade. A lot of players don't play in that position when it comes to, you know, plat. And once you get into diamond, you're going to see this a lot more. Cross angles are very important. And just playing off that refrag value is one of the most essential parts of, you know, this diamond elo, because you're playing more together and you're playing more as a team. So if you want to truly get better, you have to, once again, look at your positioning and ask yourself, where can I play a refrag value here? And how can I get a trade-off if I die or my teammate dies? 2 is watching champs/pros and what you should look for. A lot of people, instead of, you know, asking important questions, they'll ask very vague questions when they go into Twitch streamers chats. And the best thing you can do is honestly watch and absorb what these pros and champs are doing, and then try to not mimic it, but almost try to absorb some of their characteristics and tendencies and bring it into your own gameplay. Now, am I saying watch, you know, a player that has crazy sensitivity like Jolly and then, you know, crank your sensitivity up and start spinning like a silly little goose? No. Look at what they do for the team, what operators they're bringing, what utility, how they're using their utility, how aggressive, how they peak things, and how they play off one another. These are things that you should be doing instead of being like, hey man, I'm gold with a 0.7 KD. And if you're looking for suggestions for content creators and pros to watch, I'm gonna list them right now, and this is literally the third tip. I would say Pengu, of course, he's literally the best pro player to ever play. Senville, Pox Unlocks, Atheno. I would really suggest also watching my how I hit champion video. That's also will be down in the description, where I faced Bolo and Uzi and all these good players, and I somehow actually, you know, won. Overall, I hope one of these tips has helped you, or these tips or things I suggested in this video, they lead you into a proper direction where you feel like you're actually improving at the game. I didn't want to just lay out a bunch of tips and tricks and then hope that you absorb them. I wanted them to be less vague and be more specific with their own individual videos. So me suggesting other YouTubers and suggesting my own videos, I feel like is going to be more beneficial than, you know, spitting off 3 tips for every single rank. These are things that more or less that you should be focusing on overall if you want to see immediate improvement in your game, and just when it comes down to what you should be focusing on. So if you guys enjoyed this video and you enjoy some of my suggestions for, you know, other content creators, other videos, please go check out those videos. All of them will be linked down in the description and, you know, down below. If you guys enjoyed the video, make sure that you like, sub, and comment, and have a lovely day.